Diary entry number 20. Hopeful, grateful, and thankful. Welcome back to the Nervous System Diaries. Today's diary entry is called Hopeful, Grateful, and Thankful. I guess some things can't be taught, like gratitude. Things like thankfulness. And that's where today's story begins. After sleeping in my truck, washing my hair in the park bathrooms, and wondering where life was going to take me next, Number 2 and I arrived at the rental property the landlord had offered us. He wanted us to show us around and explain the arrangement. My first thought was, oh my gosh, this is amazing. The house set back off the road, almost hidden. Quiet, private, safe, and it had a gate. Now, I won't sugarcoat what it looked like inside because it was a disaster. There was dust everywhere. There was rat and mouse droppings. Old furniture was stacked throughout the house. The place had obviously been sitting empty for quite some time. But honestly, I didn't care. I saw something different. I saw a roof over my head. I saw a yard where Puppy could run. I saw a place close enough to town that Number 2 could finally get a job. To me, it looked like hope. The landlord explained that all he wanted us to do was clean it. The furniture could stay. In exchange for helping him clean up his own flooded home, we'd be allowed to stay there for 3 months rent-free. After that, we discussed a permanent rental agreement if we wanted to remain there. I was thrilled. Then he said something else. He told Number 2 that he occasionally worked in the music industry, helping set up concert venues. Those jobs paid around $200 or more depending on the event. He also told us he'd pay us $100 a day for helping clean up his flooded house. I remember standing there thinking, thank you, God, thank you. After everything we had been through, it felt like someone had finally thrown us a lifeline. Then this man did something I'll never forget. Before leaving that first night, he handed us $100. He knew we didn't have food. He said, this should help you get started. I was speechless. I was completely overwhelmed. I couldn't say thank you enough. Meanwhile, Number 2 barely said anything at all. That should have told me something. After the landlord left, I sent Number 2 to buy groceries and get fuel for the truck while I started cleaning. I tackled the kitchen first, and let me tell you, I was elbow deep in rat droppings, old food, and grime. Meanwhile, every few minutes my phone buzzed with another text message from Number 2 asking questions about what to buy. You would have thought I sent him on the world's most difficult mission. All I needed was sandwich supplies, microwave meals, paper plates, napkins. Simple. Yet somehow it took him nearly 2 hours. By the time he returned, I had already cleaned up most of the kitchen. That first night I made dinner. It was just sandwiches. But I also cleaned the bathroom. I tried to make the place feel livable. The landlord even stopped back one other time that night and brought us clean bed linens. I can't explain how much that meant to me. A real bed. For the first time in a long time. Up until then, we had been sleeping on sleeping bags and a piece of foam. And then before we got here, upright in the vehicle. I was excited about a bed. I was excited about a bathtub. Excited about ordinary things. The things you don't appreciate until you've gone without them. That night, I chose the cleanest bedroom and started to make it functional. I pushed the clutter to the walls. I made a walkway. I left the hall light on because I was still terrified of the dark. Most of my previous abuse had happened at night. Darkness still felt unsafe. As I was drifting off to sleep, I heard a strange noise. I figured it was just an unfamiliar house. Then something flew over me. Oh my God, what the crap was that? I bolted up. What was that? I woke Number 2 up because I was scared. At first, I thought I was a bird. I thought I was going to poke my eyes out. No, Just the biggest palmetto bug I have ever seen in my life. I thought cockroaches are bad. Gross, bro. Palmetto bugs. The thing was practically the size of my hand. I begged number 2 to help. Anything. Do something. Instead of just standing there. I ended up catching it myself with a bowl and a lid and put it back outside. The other noises, well, come to find out the next morning I realized it was mice because there were fresh droppings in the kitchen. But honestly, I didn't care. Because for the first time in a while, I wasn't sleeping in my truck. I woke up feeling hopeful and energized. I spent the day cleaning. I washed clothes. I swept. I mopped. I moved furniture. I organized, trying to turn the house into a home, while number 2 sat on his laptop playing games. At one point, he actually told me, "You do such a good job. I'll just let you take care of the house." Of course he would. Looking back now, I can see the pattern clearly. Back then, I couldn't. I thought he was just giving me a compliment. That same afternoon, I got a call from the temp agency. They offered me a job with the city, the housing authority. I was beyond ecstatic. The only catch was that I needed fingerprints, a background check, and a drug screen, all of which I had to pay for myself up front. I spent the last bit of money we had getting everything completed because I wasn't about to let this opportunity pass me by. A couple of weeks later, everything cleared. I had my start date. Meanwhile, every day we would help the landlord tear out drywall and clean flood damage. It was hot, dirty, exhausting work. But it was honest work, and I was grateful for it. Every single day. Number 2, however, complained constantly. Nothing was ever good enough. Nothing was ever fair enough. Nothing was ever appreciated. Then he started getting music venue jobs on the weekends. One of those gigs was setting up for the Zac Brown band. I thought, it sounded amazing. That's huge. He would actually get paid $500 for that and get to stay for a free concert. To me, that didn't sound incredible. To him, it was just something else to complain about. When he got home that night, he spent hours talking about how miserable he was, how long the day had been, how much he hated it. The next morning, he was still going on about it. And something inside of me finally snapped. I stopped dead in my tracks what I was doing and said, "If you hate it that much, then get a regular job. The landlord is helping us, and he's giving you opportunities. He's doing you a favor." I was angry, like really angry. And that's when everything changed. The argument exploded. Number 2 started throwing things and tipping furniture over, destroying the things that I had spent days cleaning. I finally said, "You know what? I'm leaving." I didn't know where I was going. I just knew I needed space. I got into my truck, locked the doors, because I saw him coming up behind me, because he followed me outside. He started punching my truck. He started kicking it over and over. I was crying, I was shaking, and I was freaking terrified. This was the first violent act number 2 ever committed towards me. I remember trying to call 911, but the signal on the property was too weak. The call wouldn't connect. Sometimes I wonder how different my life might have been if it had. When it was over, there was a foot-sized dent in the side of my truck. And the next day, I still had to go to work. The first day of my new job. So I did what I'd become very good at doing. I survived. I slept in a different room with Puppy. I never brought up the incident again. I convinced myself it wasn't that bad. I convinced myself I could just move past it. I focused on my new job, on meeting new people, on building a support system. But deep down, I was still hoping life was about to get better. And in some ways it was. But that's where I'll pick up next week. Until then, stay safe. I'm a soft-spoken survivor, and this is the Nervous System Diaries.